All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the VHS Tapes podcast. And tonight is uh pretty pretty improvised episode, I would say, as in for once neither of us have notes prepared. And by us, I mean I'm joined by Lord Heroicus tonight.
Hello.
So tonight's topic is Pixar movies. So I guess just Pixar movies in general, which ones we've seen, which ones we like best, just whatever. So I'll start off by saying I think Toy Story is probably easily one of the best Pixar movies ever made. And I'm
Agreed.
meaning the first one.
hmm Probably the first one I saw, honestly, because I think, yeah, that was pretty much the only movie that was available when I was like sentient enough as a child to watch movies and remember them.
Yeah. I I don't remember what the first Pixar movie I saw was, but I mean, one of them had to have, like, Toy Story had to have been one of them because yeah, like I'm like a late 90s, early 2000s kid. So
hmm
yeah, there were only so many Pixar movies out at that time. Like it was just that, Bugs Life, and then Toy Story 2. I don't. Was there? I mean, obviously, Incredibles. I think like had just come out at the time. So
Yeah, that
oh,
was like 2004, I think.
oh wait, no, I skipped a couple. Monsters Inc. and then Finding Nemo.
Those were before Incredibles? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, doesn't seem like it. Does like what? Yeah, I suppose I
Yeah,
should look up
damn.
a. I suppose I should look up a complete list here.
hmm
Like basically the chronology of Pixar movies. Let's see.
Yeah, while you do that, I'll say this. Oh yeah, obviously Toy Story was the first one I ever watched. I would assume. I don't know if they. No, actually, yeah. A Bug's Life must have been the second one. I'm gonna pull up a
Yeah,
list as well.
I think that was. I think yeah, Toy Story was 95, and then I think A Bug's Life was. I want to say 1997. I'm still trying to find a list here. Uh, Come on. Chronological order. Here we go.
Okay, I got the Wikipedia up. So yeah, Toy Story, 1995. A Bug's Life was in 98. Toy Story 2 was in 99. And then uh,
Yeah, and then Monsters Inc. was 2001. Okay.
yeah, Finding Nemo was 03, and then Incredibles was 04. Yeah. So yeah, when I definitely as a kid. So yeah, Toy Story and A Bug's Life would have been the first two things I had seen. Toy
hmm
Story 2. I'm not sure if I saw that. Like that was in theaters, but I don't know if we went to the theaters to see that. We probably just got that on VHS after it came out.
Yeah, I think that's what yeah, like at that age, yeah, I would have been too young to go to a theater although or wait, yeah, 1999, yeah, I would have been like at best 2 years old. So yeah,
I like I don't remember seeing it in theaters. I was told by my mom that apparently I was taken to see The Phantom Menace at a midnight showing in '99, and I
uh,
would have been 5 years old. Apparently, I think
mm,
so. I still just don't like. I don't recall that, but that's still young. I
seems too young, but at the same time, well, I remember seeing at least like this isn't Pixar, I know, but like the one of the two like Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I saw one of them in theaters for sure, but like I thought it was the first one, but that came out in 2001, so I would have been like 3 or 4 at the time, so
mm,
I don't
yeah.
know if I would have actually remembered that or like had memories of that.
Um,
But
I only saw
anyway,
the third. I only saw the third in theaters. my cousin brought over the first and second movie, and I'm pretty sure we watched it back to back in one night.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, we saw the. I'm pretty sure I saw Spider-Man 3 in theaters at some point. I forget. I think it's probably just like me and my dad or something.
Hmm.
But anyway, I'll save like more of that for like when we actually talk about the Roman movies at some future date. But back to Pixar. So I don't
Yeah.
really
So
remember it. It's like it's kind of faintly there, but I'm not sure if the memory is me remembering it or just me remembering the story. But my
right.
mom said that I got sick. This would have been like 98 or so. It had to have been because two wasn't available yet. I was sick, and it was like, she had come up to me. I was on the couch or something downstairs, and she's like, "Hey, do you want me to put on a cartoon or something?" And I apparently just like, "I want to watch Toy Story." She popped in the tape, played it. When it was done, she asked me like, "What do you want to watch next?" Toy Story. So she started to rewind the movie, and there was two ways you could rewind. One, it would like go to a blue screen and rewind quickly, or you could just rewind it on a slower version that you would see everything being played back in reverse. And
Hmm.
supposedly, I had asked her to play and rewind this so many times that I would mouth along as the movie played, and then in reverse, I would mouth backwards. Not, I guarantee it wasn't perfect. I was probably just imitating how the characters' mouths were looking. But supposedly, I insisted on play it and then rewind it so I can watch the whole thing in reverse and then play it again, just on a fucking loop.
Wow. I mean, that's
So,
how. I mean, shit like that is how you know how you learn to speak, basically.
I mean, I already knew how to speak, but
Well, yeah, whatever.
I don't know. But supposedly, that, funny enough, making a reference here, that turned out to be a core memory because whenever I'm sick, I want Toy Story. I want to watch all the movies. And if I'm feeling well enough, I might even pop in the two games I have and play those afterwards. So,
It just yeah, it just affected you so deeply. Like
yeah,
it.
it's just a comfort thing. And yes, when I was sick recently, I watched the first three movies. I haven't gotten to the fourth one just yet because I've been busy.
Oh,
And
you
I feel
haven't
better now, so it's like it's not as, oh, I gotta watch this.
you
But
haven't seen
also,
Toy Story 4 yet?
I've seen it. I just haven't,
Oh,
like,
okay.
in this, like, watching these now, I haven't gotten to it yet.
Got it.
But yeah, it was mostly the first two because that's what I had when I was growing up. I
Hmm.
just threw the third one in, and the fourth one is like I've only been sick one time where I've sat and watched that. I think there was one day when I was sick and I just watched all of them in one day, which honestly was like maybe 5 hours at best.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, recently I was just when I got sick recently, I the first day that I was really sick, I had no energy. I was just laying on my bed, just dead to the world. And the thing was, my mom brought me in a tall cup of Gatorade. It had a handle on it, but I was just so fucking exhausted that like I took a sip of it and then it just like my hand just tipped and just spilled it all over the bed.
Oh man.
So and like there was ice in it, so it's just like holy shit, this is fucking cold. I'm jumping out of bed because it's fucking running up my legs. And like I just try to like take the sheets and kind of mop it up as quick as I could. I had to take them and throw them in the laundry. The actual mattress didn't get wet because I did it quickly enough. But then it's like I want those sheets because they're my winter sheets. They're um they're warm sheets. So I gotta wait. So I popped in the first movie. I bundled up and I just sat in my chair and I'm just like nodding out the whole fucking time because I don't have enough strength to hold my head up. Fucking sucked. But like finally, by the time the movie had finished, like everything was done, so I just made my bed and I just went back to sleep. So I probably didn't watch the second one until like the next day, and then I watched the third one probably right after. But yeah.
But yeah, obviously, also aside from Toy Story, mostly the first one, yeah, Monsters Inc. and Finding Nemo were like I was still living in my first house, so it's like those are the two movies you know, where like I was a little older, I was able to like remember more shit. I loved these two movies. Like Finding Nemo, fucking classic. I don't really know
Yeah.
like I don't really know what else to say other than the whole sequence with Bruce, the shark, obviously. I mean,
Oh yeah, that.
it wasn't terrifying to me, but it was just kind of like when you're a kid, you're like, oh my god, this is so dark, this is scary, but
Yeah.
not like to the point where you're like running and screaming for your parents, but like
And let's see. So, like I was saying, it might have cut off. Our bot just fucking died. So I was talking about Hopper, like obviously being like a bit scary and whatever. And then for what I don't know why my sister had this. Put a picture of it in the chat. She had this. Um, it's sort of a toy. It's not like you can't just play with it like a typical action figure. It was one of these alarm detection things, like a sentry or whatever. So it was like a motion detector somewhere on the unit, and like if you passed it, it would just be like, "I'm Hopper, leader of the grasshoppers," and he'd just say like random. I don't remember everything he said. I only remember that specific line. So my sister would use this um, to be able to tell, like when she's not in her room, if I was in her room, because I would just walk into her room thinking I'm like, oh, I'm super sneaky, yeah. Oh, it'll never see me, and then just he'd just say some line from the movie, and
yeah.
ironic, the voice of Kevin Spacey protecting a child's room.
Damn it.
I had to do that. Um,
But yeah, yeah. I
I'm
think
sorry.
same.
My own joke now.
Yeah, same thing with sort of like with Toy Story. I remember Bug's Life from like, well, I mean, just because it came out in '98 doesn't mean I saw it in '98. I most likely saw it like a few years later, but it's like one of those ones I saw at a young enough age. Like I remembered it like vaguely, but not not any like specific plot details. Just like what like a few of the characters, like just like what the characters looked like at least, and that the villain was scary, the grasshopper. That was mainly it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, when you're that age, you're not watching it for the plot. You're just watching it just because it's fun and colorful or whatever.
Yeah. Um.
So
Yeah.
I guess unless there's anything you want to say about Monsters Inc., Toy Story 2, or Finding Nemo, next up is The Incredibles.
I don't think there's too much to say about Toy Story 2. It's good, but
Yeah, good, but not nearly as good as the first.
I don't have like a ton of memories of watching that. Like obviously I watched it a bunch, but the one thing I remember is like I would specifically watch the intro over and over again. And I think I kind of remember the first time I watched it and like how the intro starts out and it's like, holy shit, this is some fucking epic shit right here. That was the fucking Infinity War of my childhood,
Oh,
basically.
you said the beginning of Toy Story 2 was?
Yeah, just like the opening, how the logos come in, and there's like all the epic music, and then the Buzz video game. It was
Oh,
some
oh,
bullshit.
okay.
Uh, but yeah, Monsters Inc. That one,
Like
I
there
don't think it
were,
like I don't think it really scared me. Like the only thing that kind of scared me the most was the bit where what was it? Randall's using that machine on Mike to like fucking
oh yeah, that fucked me up a
suck
bit
all
as
the
a kid.
oxygen out of him.
That fucked me up a little bit as a kid, like a little
Yeah,
kid.
that's some freaky shit.
I'm
Um,
thinking like, my God, he just killed him or something.
yeah, pretty much.
He just sucked the life out of this fucking guy.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
yeah,
Randall was pretty scary in that movie overall.
yeah. Um, and like you said, Finding Nemo. Yeah, pretty much the thing with Bruce, like that was a little jarring to me as a kid. And funny enough, it had to be maybe 2006. I think was probably the first time I saw Jaws, and it was at a.
Oh,
We went to a campground that we used to go to a lot, and they had this like rec center that was like open. They had a couple of arcade machines. I specifically remember they had the Terminator 2 arcade game, which I played, not having ever seen the movies. I wouldn't see the movies for several more years. But I was just like, whoa, this is fucking shooting up robots and shit, and it was cool.
yeah.
But they would play movies, like, I think, I don't think it was every night, but at least twice a week. And they happened to be playing Jaws, and everyone else in the family wanted to watch it. And I'm like, I was like, I'll watch it. And that I fucking apparently jumped 3 feet in the air. And if you remember the scene where like they're underwater, like looking through a wreck ship or something, and this head just fucking drops into frame. That like it's
Oh
been
yeah, that
I,
scene.
apparently apparently I jumped 3 feet in the air, and I was just so fucking scared about that. Um,
I was like, my dad saw that in the theater when it came out, and like that movie still scares him to this day. Like, I think
mm,
he was damn near pissing himself the
yeah,
first time.
because shit like that is like, even though yeah, like you watch it now and it's like yeah, the shark looks a little bit fake and whatever, but yeah, it's all practical and it's all shit that could happen there. Like there could be a fucking prey shark out
Like,
there. You
like
never know.
there's no over the top CGI.
Yeah. Um. But anyway.
So, but yeah, that was I guess to tie it back to Finding Nemo, that was like the inspiration for Bruce because I think Bruce was like the what they named the animatronic shark for Jaws.
Yeah, something like that.
So, uh,
Incredibles. I don't think.
Incredibles was pretty damn incredible, I thought.
I don't think I saw. Again, I don't think I saw that in theaters. I think at this point, if I can scroll, I'm not sure I saw any of these in theaters so far. Um. Oh, to jump back, one thing about Monsters Inc. is I remember we. Let me see. What year was it?
2004 or no, no,
No, two, no
Monsters Inc.
Monster.
Sorry,
Yeah.
2001, 2001.
So we got a dog, and I want to say we got him in 2003. And I don't think it was too far before. I want to say maybe mere months beforehand. We went to the store and we happened to pick up a tape of Monsters Inc. And it was completely unrelated, but the dog ended up being named Sully. Not spelled the same way. It was just Sully. Well, he was named
isn't that
Sullivan rather, but
uh,
the nickname Sully. Um, so we got him in '03, and yeah, it's just that weird memory, and like I can't tell, like, did we have the dog or did we pick the tape up first? It's kind of blurry, but I remember just this image of being in an early 2000s Walmart entertainment center, which wasn't at the back of the store; it was kind of in the middle of the store. Weirdly enough,
back when they were actually selling, physical media?
yeah. I mean, they still do, but like they have like a lot less now. I remember going there, and it was like there was like 2, 3 rows of just DVDs and shit. Tell tapes and DVDs, CDs. I think there were still tapes, maybe.
Like
But those are definitely getting phased out at that point.
I know at Best Buy it's like the CD aisle like used to be three or four. I want to probably not that many, but now it's like down to at best two aisles.
I don't even see CDs when I go. They have like 2 crates of vinyl. Well, more like 3 crates of vinyls like on display, and they're so
Yeah,
high up I can't even fucking flip through them.
yeah, and then of course, yeah,
Um,
vinyls have made a comeback in recent years, which is
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, they're cool. Anyway, but yeah, I also specifically I remembered there was like a video game wall, and it was like an entire fucking back. It was like the back wall of it or something. Well, actually, it was the side wall. You would walk in, and it was all the way to the left, but it was an entire wall, and it was like PlayStation section, Xbox section, Nintendo section. But that was just like the Game Boy Advance stuff and whatever. But
Hmm.
then there was like accessories for each section as well. And it was just fucking neat. I would just look at all the games and like, well, I can't play a single one of these because at the time we still only had a fucking Nintendo Entertainment System from 1985,
Hmm.
and an Atari 2600, which yeah, they weren't making games for either of those at that point. Like the PlayStation had already come out, and the PS2 had already come out, and my sister got one around that time. Um, but yeah, I never got to like play much on it. Like we had like a couple games that we would play together, but like there was only maybe like 4 or 5 games, I would say. But anyways, let's see. Incredibles, what I was trying to jump into that about is again, I don't think we saw it in theaters, but I do recall it was Easter, or Easter was coming up, and like I found it somewhere, and my mom was just like, "You weren't supposed to find that. That is a family gift. So keep your mouth shut." And I was just fucking hyped over it because like I remember all the commercials, but specifically the one. It was like a teaser trailer or something. It was like he gets like the phone rings, he answers it, and he's like, I forget what he says, but then he like tries to put the suit on, and he gets 98% there, but like then he can't get the belt on.
Yeah, like he gained weight since the last time he
Yeah,
put it on, or he
yeah.
got
Then
fat.
it like he finally gets it on, and then just relaxes, and it just fucking rockets off and knocks him out. I fucking love that shit. So I was excited to see the movie. I wish they had kept that in the movie somehow, but oh well. But yeah, that's I was definitely excited to see that, and it was some good shit when it came out.
Yeah, and then I know this is going to be a future episode, but like the tie-in video game for it, I remember having that as a kid, and that was and I like you did a let's play of that, and I think you and I agree that the levels with Dash were fucking annoying.
Oh yeah, they're just kind of they fucking sucked. I have not played that game since I did my let's play, and that was give me a go ahead and keep talking while I look for this.
Yeah, just like some of the levels were fun, but it was also like a little. I mean, seems like early to mid 2000s games were kind of bullshit at times, but
Hmm.
it was still fun. I thought at the same time, but like the movie, I don't know. It was a superhero movie. Like I think yeah, at that point, I think that was the first Pixar movie to get a PG rating because I don't know. I guess like the Mr. Incredible gets cut at one point, so it's like the first instance of blood, which
Oh,
actually isn't the case because in Finding Nemo, what is it like? Dory gets hit in the nose with like
eh, yeah,
the
but it's
goggles.
fish blood, so it's not as bad.
Yeah. So this is like the first instance of human blood in a Pixar movie.
But yeah, yeah, it's in 2018 when I did that, when I
Oh, I
started
thought, huh,
uploading that. So
yeah, sounds about right actually.
it's been a while, and I was still in my early days of it doing stuff. So it's like let me see, it started. Shit, where'd it go? The first episode I probably released it shortly after I recorded it, so September 2018, and then the final one. Uh, oh, only October? Damn. I thought it was well into the next year. But that's how it used to be. It's like I used to like put out like one or two episodes of something a month of just one series. Now I can manage to do like more like four or five plus a podcast episode every week usually.
But yeah, it's
So
like, but yeah, the other thing I remember as a kid watching The Incredibles, well, of course, I'm noticing a pattern here. Like there were some moments that I thought were like dark, you know, in these
mhm.
movies. Like there were definitely like I think particularly like Mr. Incredible getting tortured or like getting captured, tortured, whatever. And then also, I think this was also the first Pixar movie where somebody fucking dies, or at least a human dies, and that would be Syndrome getting sucked into the jet engine at the end.
Yeah, that's the only one where you kind of you don't see it directly, but like you can put
Right.
two and two together.
Like
Um,
it's yeah.
there's other characters that die, but it's like it's all off screen.
I mean, I guess technically that was an off-screen death, but like that was like the closest to an on-screen death in a Pixar movie so far.
Yeah, I do recall the bit where he's hiding behind Gazer Beam like that. I recall
Oh
that being a
yeah.
little spooky.
Oh yeah, that too, yeah.
Now I'm just like, holy shit! It's still just kind of like what's going through his head when he's just like, well, fuck, I gotta hide behind these bones and yeah, it's still kind of disturbing, but
Yeah.
not as much. Okay, the
Yeah.
next one be 2006 Cars.
This one, I need to rewatch it, but this one bored the fuck out of me. In the like, I went to go see it in the theaters with like it was like me, my mom, my sister, and some family friends, and I
Mm-hmm.
just like I was just so fucking bored. I was like, I kept being like, how much longer is this movie?
uh, I don't remember the first time I watched it. I'm pretty sure we just you know got it on DVD again. I liked it. I still kind of like it.
Hmm.
Um, it's got a nice like little message to it.
Yeah, like
Um,
you don't always need to, like you don't always need to be in the fast lane in life, so to speak.
yeah. And then this is an interesting one. 2007 Ratatouille. I have yet to see that. I will watch
Wow.
it. I will watch it this year, though.
It's that's it. Well, I mean, I liked that one way better than I liked Cars, but that one was still. I think my thing with Ratatouille was I just didn't really get it. I mean, yeah, I still kind of enjoyed it to an extent, but I just didn't fully get it as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there were some funny moments, but I didn't really fully, like I said, I didn't fully understand like what the overall plot was or whatever.
Mhm.
I'm just like, haha, a rat controls a chef.
Hmm. Um.
And like the other like he can't tell anybody about it. That was like to the extent to which that was the extent to which I knew what was happening.
Yeah. I'm fairly certain. I went through a phase at some point um, after 2006 where I pretty much sold all the toys that I had. I kept certain things. I had a lot of Toy Story toys growing up. I had given away my original Buzz Lightyear to somebody. I sold all the other variants I had. I had one that was like a light blue armor. It had the utility belt, but it didn't do anything. It was just like
Hmm.
solid plastic. I had one that was purple and it had like a backpack that you could put an LGM in, Little Green Men.
Oh yeah.
Um, then there was like a bunch of small ones. Yeah, I had gotten rid of all of those by that point. The only thing I have from my like original toys is I have a couple of like I'm just going over everything. I have a little box that's got a couple of old Star Wars like figures. I forget what the exact size is, but they're really small ones. Um, I have a stuffed cat I used to have since when I was a kid. I have. I don't have my original Woody doll. That was actually lost. Apparently, what my mom said is funny enough. It was the same hospital that I eventually worked at, and apparently I was going for a checkup or something, and like I would take Woody with me wherever I went. And we got out of the car, and I must have been holding onto him by the hat. And eventually, kids swinging their arms around, he popped out of the hat and landed somewhere. And I somehow did not notice this, like until we got back to the car or something. I really don't get that. I don't know how I could have gotten in the car holding just a hat and been like, wait a minute. Because when we went to look for it, couldn't find it. And one of my aunts, whatever the fuck, um, got me a replacement, the exact same one. So I ended up having two hats, and my mom had to answer the question years later because like I would take my toys out of my like toy tote or whatever and play with them, and I'd be like, why do I have two hats for Woody? And I went up and asked my mom, and she like explained the whole thing. As like, you used to have one, and you dropped it at the hospital, and we could never find it. What I assume happened is we must have gone in, I must have dropped it, and some other kid must have just picked it up and been like, "Oh, this is mine now," and left. So somewhere out there, there's somebody who picked up a Sheriff Woody doll at a hospital with no hat, and I don't know. It's just sitting up on a shelf somewhere now, I guess.
And if that
Uh,
person is you, please leave a comment.
yeah, but yeah, I still had the other one for like the majority of the time growing up, so I'm still attached to that. I kept that. Pretty much everything else I got rid of, and I kind of like got into more. Uh, I just like didn't really care about toys that much. I started like growing up a little,
Mm.
and I don't know. I think around that time I started getting into video games like more. I had a Game Boy. That was pretty much the only thing I personally had, so I could get different games for that, and I played a bunch. And then years went on. I eventually like, I had a whole Bionicle collection. I sold that, which was I mentioned that before, and I think that was stupid.
Yeah.
And then I know Wally and Up came out before Toy Story 3, but I didn't see those till after.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
heard
that
at some
was.
point.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, Wally and Up are like the next two on the list here, 2008 and then 2009.
Yeah. But I heard Toy Story 3 was coming out, and I was just like, yeah, that sounds interesting. being a fucking oh shit. Let me see how old I was because I can't. I suck at math off the top of my head.
So yeah, Toy Story 3 was then 2010.
I was
So
sick. I would be 16 at the time. So yeah, I was a fucking angsty teen at that point. Um, and I'm just like,
you were like,
whatever.
I don't need this kids movie.
I was kind of interested in it, but I was playing it off like, oh, it's fucking kid stuff. I don't want to watch that. And then it come down to like the last few days before it was coming out, my dad and sister were like, if you come with us, we're gonna get IHOP before the movie, and like we're gonna see it early in the morning. I was like, well, I guess I'll go for the IHOP, and it ended up I watched the movie and like, you know,
Were you one of
that
those fuckers that
opening.
cried at the end?
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. I The opening just like fucking took me back to
Oh
it's
yeah.
literally it's the visualization of your imagination of when you're playing with your toys, and it's like you create the world around you and all the scenarios, and you're only moving your toys and like with your hands and whatever, and but you
Hmm.
imagine them like moving in more sophisticated ways, so it looks like you're creating your own personal movie.
Especially like how far along Pixar has come and like their ability to make good animated movies.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying with all of my toys, like I'm basically imagining a fucking movie whenever I play with them.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, it just took me back, and I still have to say there's some moments of Toy Story 3. At least when I just watched it recently, it wasn't nearly as cringy. Like it's still cringy when like the kids charge in the fucking toddlers and they just trash the toys. That's
Uh
still
huh.
cringy. That just bothers me. It's just like, ugh.
Because you know that shit happens in real life.
And plus,
Like kids are that fucking gross.
yeah, and I'm just like, that is so unsanitary. You don't know where that thing's been. I don't know where your hands have been. It's just like, ugh. I'm gonna be that dad that fucking, the kids put their toys away, and so I'm gonna fucking take the totes away, and fucking wipe them down with a Clorox wipe every night. Just, ugh, God, they fucking slobber on shit. Ugh, I didn't do
Yeah.
that shit. I did that when I was a baby, sure, but I don't ever remember taking like my Buzz Lightyear and fucking putting my mouth all over it. Ugh, it's fucking gross. But yeah, that movie, uh, especially at the end, it's fucking emotional. It was literally, while that was originally the end of the franchise, you see it more as like it's saying like obviously goodbye to Andy, like he's grown up, but it's also to the kids that grew up with that. It's like saying like you know goodbye to their childhood basically, and that
Right.
just fucking hit hard. Like I was crying in the theater. Fucking
What was your? Yeah, it was like you and your family. You said right.
yeah, it was just my
What?
dad and my sister. My mom didn't really go because her hearing loss is way more than mine, so she can't hear shit in a
Yeah.
theater. So she would pretty much just wait. Excuse me. But that got me back into it a bit. And what I did is at this time they re-released the toys with every movie, and with the release of that movie, they released pretty much the best versions of the toys. And my intention at the time, this was 12 years ago, is I'm going to get all the toys that Andy had, and I'm going to set them aside so one day my kids will be able to have them. To this day, I still have only gotten, let me see, one, two, three, four. I've gotten four of the toys.
Hmm.
Um, but the main four that they released that I was like, I have to get first was Woody, Jesse, Buzz, and then Utility Belt Buzz or Ultra Buzz. So I got Woody and Jesse first. I got these all separate because they were like $35 each at the time.
Uh huh.
So I got each one. Getting the Jesse one was fucking embarrassing because it's like my mom went to do groceries, and I'm like, I'm gonna go like pick up one of those things, and I was
That's a
walking
girl's
around with it.
toy.
Yeah, I'm walking around with it, and it's just like there's some fucking kids my age just laughing at me and pointing, like, "What the fuck is he doing with a doll?" I'm just like, "It's for my sister. It's for my little sister." And even like when I went to the checkout, I went to a separate one than my mom, and I'm just like playing it off like, "Yeah, my little sister's gonna love this." And the cashier was smiling, like, "Oh, that's cute." And I'm just like, "Yeah, this is a. I don't have a little sister. It's gonna
And
be for my kid, obviously, but yeah."
that's what uh that's what online shopping is great for.
I didn't have a credit card, so there's no way I could
Yeah.
have done it back then.
I'm just saying, like in general, like for
Oh yeah,
embarrassing shit like that.
yeah. Obviously nowadays, yeah, I would do that. I need to make the effort to like collect the other shit at some point. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I got the buzz, and my this was where I made the stupidest mistake. I went and was like, okay, there was regular buzz and ultra buzz, and I'm like, hey, I'll get the regular one first because that's the first one Andy had. I'll get the other one like next week. That was a bad mistake because when I went next week, it was sold out, and it was sold out fucking everywhere.
Oh man.
And I never got my hands on one. And yeah, now they pop up on eBay every so often, like $400 to like $2,000 mint condition. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not spending that much money. Um, and then just like last year or in 2020, I came across a Slinky dog. I got that. I don't think I ever took it out of the box. All the other ones I took out, and then there was a better version of regular Buzz that was $100, but that's the what do they call it, the certified collection or some whatever. It's just like it's got a couple more features. It's got like Spanish mode. You can pop the wrist communicator open, so it's 99% like accurate. I got that. That is no. My kid's gonna get the cheaper version. It doesn't have the lights on the wings. The wrist thing doesn't open, but it does like it's still 90% accurate. They're gonna get that. The $100 one, that one's going in a fucking display case. That's mine because that's like the most accurate Buzz Lightyear you could get your hands on. And I'll be damned. I'm still gonna get that fucking utility one, belt one at some point. I don't care what the fuck I have to do. I'm gonna get it. I don't care if I have to buy one that's like broken and then just get another regular one and like do a Frankenstein situation where I just put the two together. I will make it happen. I have to have that in my collection. It's just such a fucking cool toy. Let's see.
Yeah, I want to just backtrack for a minute here. So
Yeah, go ahead.
Wally, yeah, Wally. I know I most likely told you before, but like this movie again came out in 2008. This movie, well, first of all, well, I know I saw it in the theaters again, like with my mom and with my sister. Uh, I mean, I liked it. It was another one of those like I liked it, but I didn't fully like appreciate it or understand it or whatever. But then later on, like when I was in middle school, like we had a essentially like a technology class we would take every year for like us like 9 weeks or whatever at a time. And if my voice sounds a little different, I'm sick. Which, well, you
Mm-hmm.
knew that, but the audience might not. But anyway, every single fucking year, the teacher who was a fucking lazy asshole, but who was funny, but still a lazy asshole, would show us this movie, and we'd have to answer like 3 or 4 pages of questions about the movie, like as we watched it. So because of that, I still haven't had much of a desire to go back and watch it because it's just going to remind me of that a little bit.
PTSD.
And then with Up, I mean, that's the movie that every single basic white girl cries to. It's a good movie, though. I like it.
Yeah. I've only seen that one once. I kind of just thought that one was all right.
Yeah,
Like
it's like
the
some people
opening,
make it out like yeah.
the opening of that movie, yeah, it's just like it was like Pixar was on a fucking speed run. How fast can we make the audience fucking cry? It's just like here's this guy. He met this girl. They fell in love. They got married. She died. Like this that fast. It's just like, oh, I was just getting attached to this character a little bit.
Dude,
It's,
I remember this is a 1 minute tangent here. I remember watching this. Maybe you've probably seen it already. Maybe you know which one I'm talking about. But there was this Simpsons episode I remember. It had to have been after Up came out. Like it had to have been after 2009. There was this Itchy and Scratchy bit where it's like they're making fun of the that sequence of Up, but it's like when Ellie fucking dies on the hill. It's like fucking which one's the cat? Is it Itchy? Which
um, I forget actually. I
whatever one the
think
yeah.
I think Itchy's the mouse, but let me you keep talking. I'll double check.
Yeah, whichever one is the cat. Like he just fucking runs up the hill with dynamite and blows up where fucking Ellie's grave is. It's the most fucked up shit ever. It was hilarious.
Okay, so yeah, Itchy is the mouse and Scratchy's the cat.
Yeah, makes sense. Oh yeah, because like
Uh,
the cat's trying to get scratch them, whatever. Uh,
it's a fucking reverse Tom and Jerry because the mouse always kills the cat. I fucking yeah, that's one of the. We'll talk more about this when we have the Simpsons episode at some point. But the
yeah,
the
I need
Itchy
to
and
watch
Scratchy
more of
bits
it.
are always kind of funny because it's like it's literally Tom and Jerry turned up to 11.
But yeah, so
And
I don't really have much else to say about. Well, you've been talking all about Toy Story 3. It's just basically my thoughts are like it was a good end to the trilogy. I don't know when I actually saw it. It definitely wasn't in theaters, but I don't know. I was like the ending, yeah, kind of sad, but I guess like I wasn't like as. It's so weird because like I said in the beginning of the episode, like the original was like one of the first movies I've ever seen, like especially animated. Like I loved it as a kid, but
yeah,
I might have been like just a little too young to like I guess have it so that this ending would have affected me like that. I don't
yeah.
really know. Maybe I'm just a heartless bastard, which is more likely the case.
I would say it's a bit of probably a combination, but mostly the first thing. You might have just still been too much of a kid for it to really affect you. I think, like, if you sat down and had some toddlers watch it, they probably wouldn't really cry at the end because they'd just be like, it's like they haven't lived that long, they haven't had toys that long.
Hmm.
But it's like what always gets me, it always chokes me up, is like he first Andy, he gives all the toys to fuck, what's the kid's name?
Bonnie.
Bonnie, right? I just watched this. It's still like kind of too new. I The first two movies are like seared into my brain, but three and four they're still so new that I've only watched them a handful of times, so it's like not all of the names are integrated like
Right.
as well. But it's like he's handing all the toys off. It's like I was it just made me think like I obviously didn't do something like that. The closest I did was like I gave my buzz to someone else, which kind of was a stupid move because he like had every fucking Buzz Lightyear, probably that one. But it's like he was moving at the time, and I just like wanted to give him something that to remember me, I guess. And I just didn't really care for the toys as much at that time, so I did not. I ended up tracking down the toy years later on eBay and repurchasing it, like I said before. I think I said that in the eBay one or something. I don't know.
You probably did. It's just yeah.
Yeah,
I need to
I
listen
don't
back to
I
it.
don't remember which episode. Oh no, that was the Internet White Whales. That was the episode I talked about. That one.
Ah,
Um, just to
yeah.
have it
So
back, and
yeah.
because like uh, number one, I don't know where this kid lives now, and number two, I wouldn't call him up to be like, hey, can I have that Buzz Lightyear back? He'd probably like, yeah, sure. It's got crayon marks on it, scratched up. The helmet's probably ripped off and doesn't work. So I wouldn't want it back in that point. At that point, it's been trashed. But it made me think about like all the toys that I've given away and whatever and sold. And what really choked me up is when like Andy gets in the car, he looks back and Bonnie like waves to him, and then she takes Woody's arm and that waves that. That just fucking hurts me every time
Mm.
because it's like Andy, I like Woody was one of my first toys, and I've always had. I still have that toy, and it's just I don't know. That was really fucking personal to me. Not only for like in the movie, but it just like made me think of like you know you're grown up now, and
It's
it's
almost kind of like give it. It's almost like, especially if like you grew up with the toys as well. Like you had your own versions of the toys.
yeah,
So in a way, it kind of felt like giving away your old toys to almost like a
yeah,
complete stranger, or not a complete stranger, but
yeah,
whatever.
well, yeah. But moving on, yeah,
Cars
Cars.
2, fucking dumpster fire of a movie from what I hear. I have not seen it.
You haven't seen it? Oh shit!
All I know is
I,
it was bad.
I'll say this: it's like out of the trilogy, it's yeah, it's the weird, it's the sore thumbs that's sticking out in the trilogy. It's it's one of those bad movies that I watch that it's just like I laugh at how dumb it is. It has some neat moments, like the whole opening is like literally if James Bond was a car. I mean, I'm pretty sure whatever his name is, the spy
Oh,
car is literally an Aston Martin or some. It's designed to look very similar to it.
yeah, like it's voiced by
Um,
Michael Caine, I'm pretty sure.
oh yeah, and yeah, it's got some amusing shit, but it's yeah, the plot is just kind of really dumb.
Like
There's you care me to spoil it for you?
I already basically, like, I've seen, like, well, I only saw one person's review of it, but like that was all I needed to see.
Yeah, but there's this new green fuel or whatever, it's alternative
Yeah.
fuel, and it allows them to use lasers on the car that has that gas and literally explode the car. Like there's cars that literally straight up die in this movie, and it's just like, holy shit, the fucking kill count in this movie is just off the charts. Hell, Mater fucking kills a couple cars, I'm pretty sure. It's fucking nuts. But yeah, it's still like literally I'm pretty sure in the third movie they just kind of like pretend that oh yeah a lot of time passed, like we don't talk about what happened in the last movie,
Yeah.
but yeah we'll get to that. That's a bit of ways away.
Yeah,
um
that's just, yeah, the only other thing I'll say is this movie looks like it seemed like it was just made to sell toys. That was it.
kind of.
But yeah, and then
um
Brave, I did not see until last year. It was one of those
mm,
weird things where, like, I don't know, I think it was like my mom likes a lot of like that kind of like Outlander, like Scottish, Irish, like
yeah,
medieval times like type settings. So I guess when she saw this movie, she was kind of curious. So,
yeah,
and I had not seen it, so I'm like one day I just went up like, hey, do you want to watch this tonight? And she's like, sure, and we did. And it was pretty good. Like it was certainly not Pixar's best, but like it was pretty enjoyable, I thought.
yeah. I didn't see it until probably 2014, I would guess, because it was a princess movie, and I'm just like, ew, this is for girls. I'm not watching this. And well, then Frozen came out. I know that's not Pixar, but I saw that, and I initially had the same reaction to that. I worked at a theater when that came out, and I'd walk in, I'd just be like, oh, jeez, another fucking princess movie. It's the same shit over and over again. And then, well, we had this security guard that was just like, he had a beer belly, and he's a big guy, pretty friendly and whatever. And it's just like he came out of like watching a bit of that, and he was just like, he's like, I took my little ones to see that. I fucking loved it. I'm just like looking at him like, this is the guy who just all he talks about is like, fucking fast cars and watching movies, like,
He's a man's
t-
man.
pretty much any Marvel movie, Fast and Furious movies, any action movie is like his favorite shit. And then for him to go, like, yeah, fucking Frozen movie is the shit. I was just like, maybe there's something to this. And like, I walked in during the Let It Go sequence, and I was just like, damn, this girl can sing. I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll check this out. And I watched it, and it was pretty good. I liked it. And then I think probably the same year, I'm like, I'll give these other movies a chance. So I probably rented Tangled and Brave, and just like, let me watch these, see if these are any good. Like they were both good. I know Tangled also isn't Pixar, but it was nice. Let's see.
Yeah.
Next,
Monsters
Monsters.
University.
I watched that one time, and
Same.
yeah, it was okay.
It
It was
was
just okay.
it was okay. It was more than okay. It was unnecessary, and it also was. I mean, I'm sure this has kind of been beaten to death, but like it creates a continuity error with the first movie because there's a line in the first movie where Mike and Sully they said something like I forget what the exact line was, but it's it was basically saying that they've known each other since the fourth grade. Yet in this movie
Mm,
is like they meet for the first time at university, so
yeah. The only way I could explain that away is if they were to be like some years later after they had met in college and been like, "Oh shit, we were in the fourth grade together," and then they just say that to everybody.
mm,
But yeah, that's still kind of
yeah,
yeah. That's a stretch.
it's one of those things where it's like trying to explain away a plot hole that it's like they that what am I trying to say? Doesn't matter. But yeah, this one, yeah, just kind of it was okay. Not much else to say than that.
Yeah. And next on our list, we have one of the ultimate Pixar masterpieces, Inside
Fuck
Out.
you. Fuck you.
I'm not. I'm saying that to trigger you, but I also mean that. I really like this movie. It fucking tore me up when I watched it.
This
Like
was
particularly not like the whole movie, but it's like the end
yeah.
when Riley reconciles. Like, oh, that fucking hit me hard. It still does. I still cry when I watch that because it kind of. I think I kind of related to it a little bit. The running away part. I didn't like fully run away, but I don't remember what it was, but shit, it was years ago. It was at our second house, so it was between 2003 and 2007, somewhere in there. I was upset about something, and I grabbed a bag, and I don't know. I probably put like fucking Pop Tarts. Probably made like two or three peanut butter and jellies, and I don't know, something to drink maybe. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking run away. And I like ran across my yard into the woods. Like we lived in a very wooded area at the time. And I think I probably ran like maybe 50 feet. And then I was just like,
You were just like, what the
fuck,
fuck am I
fuck.
doing?
I was just like, fuck it, I'm going back. This is stupid. But I guess like part of that, like maybe that's part of why it hits me is because of the running away thing. Also, it was also the thing about moving like away from your friends
Yeah.
and like being upset about it. It's like I didn't really like my first house. Moving to the second house is like I didn't really lose any relationships that way. It's still fairly close. I could still see like the handful of friends I had. I didn't have like a ton of friends as a kid. Like I didn't. I would see them at church or whatever, or if we had like well, still at church, but like if we had like events at the church, I would see them and other things like that. I don't really recall having a ton of play dates, really. Um, but there was a point when we moved all the way to North Carolina from Massachusetts, and it was like I had a best friend at the time, and I was like, I'm never really going to see him again. Um, we did keep in touch for maybe the first year by like letter because like we didn't have really. We had one computer and it had shitty internet, and I wasn't really allowed to really have any like messaging accounts or anything. I didn't really pay attention to any of that, anyways. So we
Hmm.
would like have phone calls from time to time, and most of the time we would just send letters to each other. And eventually, we just kind of like stopped talking. My mom, for whatever reason, at some point was just like, you're always the one calling him. Why don't you wait till he calls you and see if if he actually bothers? And
Oh.
I don't know. He just never called me. I don't know if he lost my number or what. When I moved back, like we temporarily went back to the same church, and like they had some pictures up, and I found a picture of him. I'm like, oh, he still lives here. I see his mom from time to time when I'm at the grocery store. She comes through and she'll say hi. And she said he works somewhere nearby, but I'm not really sure what she said he works at. But it would be nice to be able to say hi to him again. Be like, hey, it's haven't seen you
It's
since like 2007.
it's been 84 years.
I'll wait till 2027, and then I'll be like, it's been 20 years since we last fucking spoke to each other. Uh, Honestly, it might be till then until I find out where he is, because like his mom will come through, and it's like I'll be busy. I can't just stop working and run up to him like, hey, where's he work at? What's his number or whatever the fuck?
Right.
Honestly, he might not even remember me at this point, but whatever.
Mm. But yeah.
That's probably the thing I related to more is just being sad about literally being ripped away from some friends.
Yeah, that
And
was like I moved away at a pretty young age too, so it's I mean, it really it was like where I moved was like less than an hour away, so it's not like it was moving to a different state, but it was still I remember as a kid just being like upset, like I didn't want to move. The typical thing,
yeah,
but
yeah,
but yeah,
an
this
hour away,
movie,
like
yeah,
an hour away, like you can still like go see friends sometimes, but it's going to be harder. But
yeah,
Massachusetts, North Carolina is like over 700 miles.
yeah, that would be like if you were
So
to drive, that would be probably what 12 hours roughly.
yeah,
I'm
we
I'm just
typically would
guessing.
do it over the course of 2 days. It's like we drive part way and then like camp. We camp. We'd pull into a Walmart parking lot and just sleep overnight. Uh, can't always do that anymore, but at the time, like they didn't really give a shit. Um, but yeah, it's like impossible to really like. Yeah, I'll just go visit my friend 800 miles, 700, 800 miles away. Nah, no problem. Yeah, it doesn't work. It's not that easy.
Yeah,
Um,
just one other thing I'll say about Inside Out before if we want to move on is I remember like reading one review of it back when it came out like, this is like the most like this is like a very original thing and I remember being like, no, it's fucking not because they haven't seen Osmosis Jones. Do you know what
I
Osmosis
haven't.
Jones is?
I haven't seen that. I don't even remember that as a kid, but I've seen like a few clips. Specifically, the clip I saw was like it was pointing out like everyone was standing in this area and there's like statues of the founder in the background and you can literally just see it's a fucking sperm. And I'm just like, holy shit, that's funny. Adult jokes that are hiding in plain sight. That honestly, that's something I love seeing in these movies, but it also makes me cringe because I'm just like, that's been fucking staring me in the face for 20 years, and I'm just now getting it.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna go through every fucking movie about this, but maybe that could be a topic for another time. Adult jokes in kids movies.
Oh yeah.
Um, but
But yeah.
specifically, what I remembered last time, I mentioned this before, but I had forgotten it, is in Toy Story 3. just after they've reprogrammed Buzz, but no one's found out yet, is they come in and all the other toys are like, "Hey, where's Buzz? We need to get the fuck out of this room because it sucks in here." And um, Mrs. Potato Head goes up to Lotso and she's bitching, and he just grabs her mouth to shut her up. And then Mr. Potato Head says, "Hey, no one takes my wife's mouth but me." I'm just like, "Oh, got a double meaning to it." Oh, that made me laugh so hard. Because like I know I picked up on that before, but like I had forgotten completely because it had been a few years since I had last watched it. But
I,
that gave me a good laugh. But it's like just the thought of like one day having kids. It's like I'm gonna be laughing at all these jokes, and they're gonna be laughing at all these jokes. But it's like we're laughing for two different reasons. And I'm going to relish the day that my kids have grown up and they're old enough to watch um, the movies and like pick up on the jokes, and they're going to be like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "See, now you know how it feels." Oh, that's going to be hilarious.
yeah. So next up is The Good Dinosaur. Came out in 2015, and I'm looking at the poster here, and it's like "the" is underlined, so it's like The Good Dinosaur. Not sure why.
Implying he's the only one, I guess.
Yeah. Which
Um,
I don't think
I
either of us have seen this, right?
I watched the trailer. Well, I didn't really have a choice. I was still working at the theater when the trailer played. Inside Out was the last one that played before I moved because we moved in October of 2015. This didn't come out till November, so a month after we had already moved back. Um, I saw the trailer and I'm just like, this looks stupid. The animation it wasn't as good. It's not really the art style because like the kid is like looks well designed or whatever, and then like some of the dinosaurs they look like those behind the scenes clips that you watch where it's like a pre-render of a scene or something. Like they didn't look like they were finished. They weren't very detailed, and it just looks stupid. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm not watching this. And apparently that movie fucking sucked. So
Yeah.
I'm probably never gonna watch it unless one day when I have a kid and they're just like, "Oh, I want to watch that one," and just be like, "Okay, here we go." But whatever.
Yeah. And then
Finding
Finding
Dory.
Dory.
Hmm, amusing. I only watched it one time.
Yeah. Same. It was like I took my sister to see it to get out of something. Like I had to get out of something else, so I'm like, "Hey, do you want to see this movie?" So I don't have to go to this other thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was pretty good. That's about it. Like it wasn't anything amazing or even better than the first one. It was a good enough sequel, though. I thought.
Mm.
Not much
Yeah,
else to say.
I think probably the only thing that kind of teared me up a bit was towards the end when it's like I think Dory's like so close to finding where her parents are, and then she just like forgets everything again.
Oh man, yeah.
And like yeah, that just kind of hurt. And then like it's resolved in like a minute later. Yeah, Cars 3. I actually like that one. It
I
was
don't know.
nice.
I don't know anything about this movie other than I guess there's some new car that I
So
guess he's apparently a threat to Lightning McQueen.
do you want me to basically lay it out?
Yeah, I don't really care.
So like it starts out. Keep in mind, I've only seen this once, so I might not have all these details correct or in like the correct order. But it starts out, Lightning's won. He's won more Piston Cups. He's top of his career, and I'm assuming it's set in close to the year that it came out or whatever. There's a new car that comes out, and he's faster than all the other cars. He starts winning all the races. all the other cars they can't keep up, so they basically are retired, or their team lets them go basically in favor of taking on these other new racers that are their new super cars or whatever.
Hmm.
And it comes down to Lightning's the last one in a race. All of the other cars are way faster than him, and he gets in a bit of an accident, gets put back together. It's over and done with, like in the blink of an eye. Like you don't even get to see like his recovery, if I recall correctly. It's just like he wakes up and, oh, I'm all put back together, but it's like his heart's been taken away, basically. Not literally, but he's just like devastated. Like he feels what Doc felt, when he got, effectively replaced.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of, I don't know if it was inspired, but it kind of gives us the Rocky 3 vibe, where it's like how Rocky, I don't know if you would watch those movies, but he's
I,
defeated and he's like, I gotta reclaim, this thing, but he's got no drive to do it. And like the whole movie, for a lot of it, he's just failing at it, and eventually, you know, gets it back. But by the end of the movie, he goes to the race and he's doing, decently, I guess. But like he finally decides that the car that, like you've probably seen in the trailer, that is helping him out. He's like, you know what? It should be you. And he gives the mantle over to her to be the new 95 car, and he becomes the crew boss and passes it on to her. And it was sweet. It was passing the torch, and it was a nice little ending
all right.
until they decide to make cars for some fucking reason.
Are they actually going to, or are you just saying
I'm
like as a
saying
joke?
like as a joke, but they might. You never know. Then again, they might, with the fact that the second one kind of sucked, and the third one was like, I think it was fairly well received. I could be wrong, but I enjoyed it. They might just be like, okay, that ended on a decent note, so let's just leave it the fuck alone. Uh, but yeah.
So next
Uh,
up is Coco in 2017. That one I saw back when you had your movie night server. That was like, well, I think I missed like the first 20 or so minutes, but
yeah,
I mean, I liked it. It was pretty good. It had the whole like Mexican like Day of the Dead. I mean, obviously that was like the setting of the movie,
yeah.
but
I,
like
I like that. It was pretty. It was pretty nice. I've watched it a couple times. It's pretty good.
yeah, I need to watch it again because I mean, yeah, I was watching it, but I probably was. It was one of those things where I might have had it on while I was like at one point I might have been like making dinner or trying to do a little homework or something and just kind of have it on in the background. So one of these days
Yeah,
I need to actually sit down and watch it, but I mean from what I saw it was good. I liked it.
yeah. It is one of those things though. It's like the first time you watch it, you get engrossed in it. You might predict the villain, or you might be completely oblivious. I had no guess really. Um, but it's like now that you know the villain, it's like when you rewatch it and you're just like squinty eyed staring at them anytime they're on screen, just like, I know what you're fucking up to.
You know
You're
what
a
you
piece of
did, you
shit.
fuck.
And that villain, I forget the name, but like he's just like one of the shittiest villains. Um, like obviously every Disney or Pixar villain is a shitbag, but like his motivation was just really, he's just a complete asshole. So yeah, he's not like if you take Chick Hicks and Cars for example, just, oh, I just want to be in first place because I'm a dick. Like he's pretty low on the totem pole, really, for that. But this guy just like fucking killed his best friend because he wouldn't give him the rights to his music, basically.
Like literally like I saw the revolver and I'm like, "Damn, they really just put that in a Pixar movie, didn't they?" Like literally
Oh,
shoots a man, like kills a man with a fucking gun in a fucking Pixar movie.
He didn't kill him with a gun. Not that I
I,
remember. He
I
poisoned
saw
him. I don't know. Maybe there
I
was a
saw I
result.
saw.
Maybe there was a revolver somewhere in there. But the way he killed him was he
I don't know.
poisoned a churro and oh wait, no. He either poisoned a churro or he gave him some poisoned alcohol. I think it was the alcohol. Like he
Oh,
gave him like a shot to like, if you're gonna leave, one last toast to friends or whatever. I think that's where he did it.
I don't remember
But
seeing a gun unless I'm somehow getting it mixed up with the next one on the list, Incredibles 2.
there was a gun in that somewhere.
Yeah.
There was
It
a
was
gun.
like a
There were
flashback
guns in
sequence.
both of them actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
But
there was definitely a gun in Coco somewhere, but anyway, doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Anyways, yeah, Incredibles 2. I quite liked it. I mean, some people you were disappointed with it a bit because
I mean,
like
I
if it
didn't
had
that
been a
yeah.
if it had been a sequel like you said, like if it had just came out like a year or two after, it might have been disappointing or whatever. I forget what you said. You go ahead.
I think I I didn't quite say that. I think what I said was the fact that we waited so long to get this was or I think yeah, more or less just like the fact that we waited uh
Over 10 years.
well, yeah, because I'm remembering like there was a meme where it was like there's a quote from Syndrome in the first movie, like "You're too late, 15 years too late," but like people were making fun of that, but like it had been 14, not 15 years since the first one came out. I think the but point is,
Yeah, it's like yeah, whatever. Just let
it's
us
like
have it.
yeah, we waited so long.
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably a case against like fan expectations, like fan like hype
yeah.
for it. Like you're expecting the sequel to be like the most epic fucking thing ever, and then when it's not, you're disappointed.
Yeah, I would say like if you were to compare it to Marvel movies, is like I think the expectation was like even though Endgame wasn't out yet, I think the expectation was like this is going to be the end game of the Incredibles, whereas it was more like the Age of Ultron. Still a good movie, but like it's kind of
like
like it's basically the trailer that leads up to the third movie.
yeah, this one like I didn't really. I mean, the villain I thought was kind of cool at first. It I don't know.
Oh, I remember because you fucking had the persona and you were quoting it every day. You would come into a chat in whatever Discord server and be the screenslaver has interrupted this server for an important announcement. Then you would just say some bullshit like, "Oh, my feet taste like Cheetos today," or whatever the fuck you were saying. You just say something stupid every time. I
Just
know.
so, and then that was a really cool fight scene with Elastigirl, like the first where like she finally meets him, but then it turns out to like it was like a twist villain, like it turned out to be like some fucking pizza guy that got hypnotized
Hmm.
and yeah, well, I guess backtracking a little bit. I guess just I'm not saying it was a bad movie. I liked it. It was just I thought they probably should have done something a little different
I can
with the
see that.
movie.
Yeah, there's some stuff I can look at it and be like, yeah, they could have. This could have been worked on a bit more or whatever. But yeah, I think
Like
some of the designs for some of the new supers were a little
oh, they were
weird.
fucking dumb.
It's just like it's like there are a couple of like Void specifically. Her powers are kind of neat. It's just I didn't really care for her costume. Like her costume could have been better. They all kind of look like they're just fans of supers, and basically they are, and they're basically just made some cosplay costumes.
Yeah, like they
Is
all look
like
super
last
fucking
minute.
generic.
Yeah, they kind of look like concept art that just got rejected, and they're just like they're making the second movie and like, let's fuck it, let's just use this shit and we'll figure it out from there. Like it could have been better, but it is what it is. If they make a third one and some of those characters are reprised, I'm sure they'll have a new suit. There's new suits in every fucking movie.
Like it just and then
What I
like
would
a
like to see, if they do make a third one, um, I would love to see like if the opening would be like the family's on some stealth mission and they have like black variants of the suit as like stealth suits. That would be freaking cool. Like imagine that like a night setting and the lighting and the graphics that they can do now. It would look fucking sick.
Yeah, what I was just gonna add real quick, and then it's like back to the heroes, you if you will, in the second one. Like aesthetically, they don't fit with like the first movie because like the first movie, like I mean, I remember like looking at some of the bonus features and like looking at what all the heroes looked like. And, it's more retro,
Yeah.
whereas like these are like they just don't look like they belong in the same universe that was already established.
Yeah, that's
I know that's a little nitpicky, but whatever.
yeah, it's because like the for me when I look at it is like all the original heroes they look more like they
Classic
were quite like
superheroes.
yeah they look like 50s and 60s style superheroes even though the film actually takes place in the 60s itself, late 60s I believe. These new characters look more like 70s characters and it's like it's not the 70s yet, but yeah, like whatever.
But
Like I
yeah,
said, maybe if
but
they make a third one, maybe they'll probably redesign the suits. They'll probably have new characters as well. They won't not bring all these characters back. Particularly fucking what's his name? That his power is literally just having really bad acid reflux.
I know who you're talking about. I forget his name.
I legit expected that to just be acid reflux, but like he has it, but then he like fucking spits out a ball. But it's like okay,
Is his name
uh,
just Reflux or something? I don't know.
probably. Probably. Uh, but anyways, we're
but,
fucking. This is gonna be a long one.
but yeah, I just want
Next
to
up,
add. Sorry,
go
just
ahead.
one more little thing about Incredibles 2. I saw that shit opening night, and probably same thing. Like bunch of people that are my age, older, whatever, that like saw it when they were kids. Of course, they're gonna go see it opening fucking night. And it was one of those instances where you see a movie and like, of course, people are laughing and probably clapping at a couple of parts, whatever. But then it's like at the end, it's just fucking applause. So
Hmm,
like I love movie experiences like that.
hmm,
Yeah. I don't know
yeah.
if you had that in your theater when you saw it or if you even saw it in theaters.
If I heard you right, it's like people are quiet through the movie and then everyone applauds at the end. Is that what you
Yeah,
said? Okay.
or like
Yes.
well, it's like well, of course like something funny happens, it's like everybody in the theater just laughs or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, if I'm not watching a superhero movie, um, then yeah. Um,
But yeah, on to Toy Story 4.
yeah. Yeah, I liked it. It felt a little different because, well, this movie, like, obviously Andy's gone to college. This movie is more like Woody is definitely the main character of this movie. Like, I'd say Woody and
Bo
uh,
Peep.
For- Woody, Forky, and Bo Peep are probably like the main trio here.
In this
Most of
movie,
the other toys get sidelined, unfortunately.
yeah.
But like, I get it; it's part of the story. This is like the end of Woody's story, so like they're gonna focus on him mostly. I understand particularly Mr. Potato Head because, well, the voice actor had already passed at the time, so all of his lines are literally just sourced from takes for the other movies and other movies he has done. Period.
And like even
Um,
from the video games,
yeah, probably that too. If he did some voice work for that.
like pretty much
Um,
wherever they could get, like pretty much
yeah.
whatever they could find.
So like he doesn't talk too much. So it's kind of it's weird to say like the performance does feel a bit soulless because well there's it's not really anyone there. You're using pre-recorded shit and you're just trying to like how can we make this work? So he doesn't
Kind of
really
like
talk. I would say he probably doesn't have more than 10 lines in the whole movie. But
that's
I mean,
kind of like what they had to do with Carrie Fisher and Rise of Skywalker.
yeah, her because like at some points like you can kind of tell she's not like CG exactly. she's up against the green screen. She's been, it's footage from the previous two movies or whatever, just being chopped in there, mixing and matching shit. I wouldn't be surprised if the body was like part CG or it was a double and they put like the face on because obviously she wasn't wearing the costumes. I would assume,
Hmm.
but yeah, it feels a little weird at some points because sometimes it feels like it's like someone's behind her pressing a button and she just says a line and it just doesn't connect exactly. It just feels awkward and yeah, disconnected. But it's like they
Yeah,
did what they could, so I'll respect that.
yeah. So Toy Story, back to Toy Story 4. So I kind of saw this. Well, I saw it in theaters, but the way I saw this, well, by saw I mean like the way I kind of, I guess, rationalized this movie was, at first I'm like, why do they need to make a fourth one? Like the third one was like a perfect ending, but I kind of rationalized this one as like essentially a long epilogue,
Yeah,
kind of like Red Dead Redemption 2's big ass epilogue. Like it's like two more whole chapters.
yeah, they're fairly short though. Like the
Yeah,
first chapter is like
like
barely
part one and
anything.
part two is like basically
Yeah, the second part is like fairly got some length to it. Um, but
yeah.
anyway,
But yeah,
but
this
yeah, this is more of if Toy Story 3 is the movie of Andy's growing up and he's moving on, this is Woody moving on.
right, and then obviously we also find out what happened to Bo Peep finally,
Yeah.
and
Um,
she's kind of a badass now.
um, I do want to point something out. I made this comparison a while ago. Is I don't know if this was like inspired or if it's like a subtle reference, but there is a movie, Castaway, where like obviously Tom Hanks he gets you know cast away on an island, and when he comes back, like he meets the girl that he was going to marry. He speaks to her a bit, and he's driving. It was like a '90s Jeep or something, I think, and it's raining. Like he pulls in or whatever. Actually, he pulls out because she like got his car while he was lost, and she kept it. And like he goes to leave and whatever, and before he actually leaves, like he gets out of the car and runs over to her, and like they hug. She gives him a kiss, and like he moves on because it's like she's married now, and it's just like they still feel for each other, but like they have to respect that they basically both moved on. Um, and then he backs out and goes on his way. And I'm just like watching the opening scene, and I'm just like Woody and Bo Peep hugging. She's put into a car and it leaves. And I'm just like, it's raining and everything. Like the whole thing just looks kind of like it's a subtle reference. Like they got it inspired by it. I don't know,
It's
but it's just like
possible.
it just happens to be Tom Hanks is in both of these movies. So it's like the scene itself, but I'm just saying the setting
Right.
of like a Jeep style vehicle backing out of a driveway and leaving while it's raining, and like two people who have a big emotional connection are being separated. I'm just like, it kind of feels familiar, but yeah, and definitely towards the end of the movie. Oh, what's her name? What's the doll's name?
The one who was bad up until the end of it.
Yeah, let me look.
Ah,
I'm looking
fuck.
here.
It's on the
Um,
tip of my tongue.
voice cast.
It's like it's some kind of a
Gabby
weird name.
Gabby.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, that actually a little bit before that. It's like when Woody just finally like they've got him surrounded. Like all the other toys are basically given up because they did a rescue attempt for Forky and they basically got themselves nearly killed. But Woody goes back in, and like he's already like his voice box is almost ripped out from earlier, and he just basically like gives up. It's like, take what you want, just leave me Forky. And I'm just like, they're gonna fucking kill him. They better not fucking kill him. But like he just wakes up after they've basically surgically removed the voice box from him.
Yeah, which
But
which only really affects him when he's being played with,
yeah,
because obviously he can still speak when he's sentient.
yeah.
But yeah,
Also,
that was
it's good. I think it's kind of funny watching Toy Story 1, and there's a bit like all the toys are mad at Woody, and Potato Head says like, "I hope Sid rips your voice box out." And, like, ooh, foreshadowing. Oh, yeah, the same thing in Toy Story 2 when they've captured Stinky Pete, and he's like, "You'll all be ruined, forgotten, spending eternity rotting in some landfill." In the next movie, they're in a fucking landfill. Interesting, but anyway, back to that one.
Yeah,
At
and
the
then
end, like when Gabby Gabby splits off and gets the kid, that fucking teared me up.
oh yeah, like that kid was, what was it, like she got lost and or something like
Yeah,
that.
I can't relate to that. Like, I mean, I have gotten lost in a store or something. It's like I remember walking behind my dad, turned, and I looked back, and like there was someone else in the store dressed exactly like my dad, and I was following them. And at some point, I asked like, "Hey, Dad, like, what do you think of this?" And like he turned around and looked at me, and I'm like, "You're not my dad. Where's my dad? Where the fuck is
Oh
my
man,
dad?" But he was like in the next aisle or whatever, and he heard me. But like I'm not like been properly lost like that ever. But still, it just yeah, it is still just touching.
right?
Um, and of course,
Yeah.
like when Woody says goodbye to everybody, that was just oh, that fucking hurt.
Oh yeah. But yeah. One little thing I thought was interesting about this movie was this was like the first time, at least in a Toy Story movie, where like the villain ended up getting like redemption at the end,
Yeah,
or like
unlike unlike fucking Lotso in Toy Story 3, the fucking bastard. I mean, I would have loved a post credit scene where they just shows like years later he's got like stuff. He's like all thinned out because like he got ripped and all the stuffing came out, and he's just like hanging on. Like it's like,
probably got some like burns from the back, like being against like the engine
yeah,
or the
I'd have fucking
radiator
loved
rather.
that shit. He deserves that. He's a fucking piece of shit. If he had redeemed himself there, that would have been fucking nice. And like he probably wouldn't have been able to go back to Sunnyside still, but like it would have been nice to have that redemption, and then like he gets another kid. That would have been a good like ending. But
Yeah.
no, that's not what they did. So he's a piece of shit. Fuck him. Um,
But yeah, next
Onward
up,
to our
I
next movie.
I have not
Onward.
seen that.
I watched it once. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I thought it was just okay. Um,
It seems like just an okay
yeah,
Pixar movie.
it had a nice little ending. How it's like obviously you see in the trailer, it's like they use a spell to like bring their father back for one day, and it, like something goes wrong, and they only get like his legs, so they're trying to like they have to get like a certain ingredient or something to complete the spell, and they only managed to do it like at the last minute, and we don't get to hear as the audience like what happened. It's like fucking Tom Holland's character like lets his older brother Chris Pratt, I forget what their names are, so I'm just calling them by the actor's name. He knew the father more, so he lets him go, finish the thing, and you just see in the distance like the dad's back. He gets to talk to him, and you get the gist that he's just like, how are you? How's the little brother? How's mom? Like, what's happening? And they basically get all of like a minute to talk to each other and catch up, and they get to properly say goodbye. But you
That's
don't get to
nice.
hear what it's all up to your imagination. The only thing
Uh,
he does say when he comes back is like he said like such and such or whatever. He asked about you or something. Like you don't really get word for word what happened. It's still a neat moment, but like yeah, the movie's just kind of okay to me.
Mm.
Soul and Luca. I've not seen either of them yet. I'll watch them at
I
some point.
I have not seen Soul. I've seen Luca, and I actually liked that one. That was, I mean, it's just it's nothing like grand or whatever. It's just a nice story of like two friends in like some small town in Italy. Well, they're both from. So the premise of the movie is, if you don't know, there's like this race of sea monsters, I guess, there where like they go on dry land and they become humans. But this town, like they're like they like try to hunt these sea monsters. Are like afraid of them. Uh,
Hmm.
Basically, that these two characters meet. Like one of them, what's his name, Alberto, I think. He's like the more tan one. He's like the he's like the more rebellious one, and then Luca, the main character, is like he's like the what's the word I'm looking for? Like
Scaredy cat.
he's the scaredy cat. Yeah, we'll just go with that. And
Yeah.
then yeah, they go into this town, and I don't want to give too much away. They meet this girl. They try to basically they spend the whole movie trying to basically get a Vespa so that they can just go on adventures together.
Hmm.
It's a nice little movie, I thought.
Yeah. I honestly, when I saw the trailer or whatever for it, I'm just like, I thought it was a short film. Something would be like 15 minutes at best. But oh, it's a whole last movie. Uh, then the last two on this list, one of them
Yeah, what are
is
the last two? Because
apparently
mine
has
is
already come
incomplete.
out. One of them's apparently already come out on March 11th, which I thought it wasn't
Turning
even out yet.
red.
Yeah, Turning Red. I'm not terribly interested in that. I at first didn't even think that was Pixar. Like I saw the thing for it, and I'm like, yeah, this looks like you see them on YouTube sometimes. There's like people who make entire short films, like a couple of people or whatever, and it's all entered into like a contest, so it's all on like the same YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was like one of those or something. Like, yeah, I don't know, they got the money to like make a full film, and then like, oh, this is Pixar. Like, okay, not really interesting me that much, but whatever. I'll probably still watch it eventually, but I'm not. Well, it's Ratatouille where I need to see that. I just keep forgetting. And
Yeah,
then we have
yeah.
upcoming. Wait, did you want to say something?
That was just. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen Turning Red, but just from the trailers, I'm like, yeah, this looks pretty cringe. But you know,
Yeah,
apparently, it's getting some, let's just say, discussion online. Like, oh, yeah, of course, it's cringe. It's about teenage girls. I don't
yeah,
want to really get too much into it, but whatever.
yeah. I don't know. It's just. I guess it's going to be more relatable to teenage girls in that case. So,
Only other thing I'll say is it's interesting in a good way, I guess. Well, it's like the setting is Canada in the early 2000s, and I'm thinking, like, obviously I'm not complaining, but why specifically Canada in the early 2000s
hmm,
for the setting? But whatever.
excuse me. And then upcoming June 17th of this year, Lightyear. I'm pretty excited for it.
Oh, that's yeah. I'm
It
not,
looks
but
it looks interesting. Like the first trailer, I'm just like, that looks cool. The second trailer looked a bit more interesting. Just imagining this is like the movie, I guess that would have been released that Andy would have watched. And you said before we talked about this that like it seemed a little weird. Like, well, if it's a movie they're watching, like it's very high detailed, and I would just assume like in the Toy Story world,
like it would have been live
this
action
would
or
be a
something.
live action. This would be like a live action slash CGI movie. So like, yeah, they're not gonna go back to like to Toy Story level graphics for this. Like, Honestly, if they ever did that, I think it would look pretty fucking weird. Everyone would be complaining like, "God, this looks like shit."
Which I don't know. I still think that. I mean, I know Pixar hated it, but like the Buzz Lightyear Star Command, like anime, like that was originally supposed to be essentially the world that this Lightyear movie is apparently supposed to serve
Yeah,
within the universe.
yeah. Although I think there were references in that to stuff in Toy Story, so like some of the stuff was couldn't have existed in that world, but it didn't really matter. I liked most of that, but some of there was some shit in that show that just fucking had me rolling my eyes. Particularly, I don't remember the name, but there was this character. I think he had forearms, but he had this ability to like clone himself because he had some device that Zurg gave him or something. And he was voiced by Brad Garrett, one of the many fucking characters Brad Garrett voiced in like every fucking. He like Brad Garrett did some voice work in the Hercules show as well, but I think he did several characters in the Buzz Lightyear show. But this, he every character always has the line like something something baby, and it just he says it the same way every time. And I'm just like, so instantly when I hear it, I was like, "Yep, this is Brad Garrett," and I look it up and like, "Yep, he's in this episode." Nothing against him. It's just like, why you got to do the same voice? Like, it's one thing if it's different shows, but it's like I think he does like two or three different characters in the Buzz Lightyear show, all with the same voice, and it's just kind of like you got to change it up a little bit. But let me double check that if that's correct. It
Like
uh might just be different. The two different shows I watched.
it's
Garrett
probably just
was.
like it's probably like they just didn't really care when they were making it, or they might have not had a lot of time, so they're like, let's just get this done as quickly as possible and not really care what happens.
Yeah. Oh well. No, he was just a one character, so never mind. I
Uh,
do know he did multiple characters in the Hercules show. He had to have. Yeah, he had to because I remember him being a bouncer in that show at some club Hercules was trying to get into, and then he's some other like Cyclops character as well. But in Buzz Lightyear, yeah, he's Torque, and Torque has five fucking episodes of the same thing where he's like, if I duplicate myself enough, like the first time he does so many duplications of himself to fight off Buzz, and Buzz defeats him. So the next time he's like, I'll just do more, and Buzz defeats him. And then the third episode, I'll just do even more, and you can see where I'm going with this.
Even
So
more
every episode,
like
just like if I just do a couple more, maybe I'll beat him. And nope, Buzz still kicks your ass because he's the lead of the show. He's going to kick your ass every fucking time.
yeah, so I guess just my closing thoughts on Lightyear. Not interested, but I'm sure like all these other Pixar movies except for Cars 2, I'm probably going to end up watching them at some point.
Mm.
And probably, well, I'm not going to watch The Good Dinosaur either.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with that. Like I said, unless I have a kid someday and they desperately want to watch it, then I'll just whatever.
Yeah. And then probably, I don't know, Cars, well, I'm probably going to rewatch Cars 1 at some point just to like hopefully what's the word I'm looking, not rewrite the memory or but just kind of like watch it and be like, okay, that wasn't as bad as I remembered it or whatever. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but we'll see.
But yeah, anyways, I think that about wraps it up. Unless you got more things to go on about.
Uh, I think I don't really have much else to say, so yeah. So yeah, just and you didn't have anything to say either, right?
No, I'm all set now.
All right. So that being said, thank you for watching. If you've made it this far into the episode, because Probably by the time it's all edited down, it's going to be at least almost 2 hours, which is the length of a Pixar movie. So,
Yeah, well,
so
a little longer actually, but yeah.
yeah, it depends. But yeah, so yeah, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments what your favorite Pixar movie is, or if you agree with our opinions on these. But yeah,
You better.
peace. Yeah, or I'll fucking rip your nuts off and feed it to your VHS player or something. I don't fucking know.
Oh, it's fucking hot. I might do that later.
All right, peace out.